How to heal and let go of the past.
Happy blissful day,
blissful beings. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Gabriel.
And my name is Kylie. And a huge congratulations to all of you who have already completed or are currently doing the 5-day self-concept challenge. We are so proud of you for taking the initiative to change your self-concept. And before we dive in, thank you so much to everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Thank you. You can never say thank you too much because thank you always makes you smile. It always makes you feel good because gratitude neutralizes everything, you know. If you don't believe me, just express your gratitude for everything that's around you right now and feel the magic within. So, how to heal and let go of the past, and why is it so important? Well, I can tell you guys firsthand, I always used to just brush off, the past when it came back to my mind, and I was like, yeah, no, I am God, I am the imagination, those things doesn't matter anymore, and blah blah blah. But what will happen is it will always come back to me, and the more it comes back to me, I'll just put an affirmation, like use an affirmation as a bandage or a plaster, and then just paste it on my past, because I was afraid to deal with my past, especially the dark past that came to my mind. And I was like, no, I'm no longer that person. Why is it always coming to me? And it's just like, just running away from it and suppressing it and just putting affirmations on it. Now I am God, I am the imagination, I'm. So I never took the time to actually acknowledge it, to become aware of it, and just to say, okay, this is what happens, right? And I'm no longer this. And even though this happened, it doesn't shape me now. And I am now taking this opportunity to heal it. And I'm no longer going to judge myself. I'm no longer going to suppress it. I'm no longer going to run away from it. I'm going to see it for what it is, acknowledge it, give it love, and have compassion on myself and compassion for myself. Because yes, we are God, or awareness, consciousness, spirit, having a human experience. So we still have to look after this vessel, the human experience. And it requires healing, and it requires love and compassion, especially us on this planet, because we all have a story. We all have a past. And we have not been taught to actually go back and to just not run away from it or to suppress it. We haven't been taught that. So that's why when it comes to our minds, especially us in the manifestation community, it's so easy just to brush it off and say, nah, you God, you the awareness, you consciousness. That stuff doesn't, but it affected me. It affected my manifestations. It affected how I felt. It affected how I viewed myself. But when I finally just took that moment to see it for what it is and then heal it, my life changed,
Yeah, it's so important to address the past, because we know with the law of assumption that our assumptions are created by our experiences, and our experiences happen in the past. And so we need to address the past to say, okay, what's manifesting in my life now that's undesirable because of something that happened in the past? Because as Gabriel said, it's almost like human nature, human instinct, that these memories are going to come up. Maybe pleasant, maybe unpleasant. And so it's so important to not brush them off, not just suppress them and say, oh, the past is the past, I'm going to keep going. But to really sit there and say, okay, what happened? What is this? When one arises, just to sit there. And one of the tips or tools that we use, or whatever you want to call it, is to just see that outside of yourself, almost as if you may be like holding it, or you just see it there. It helps you to detach from it, so that it's like, okay, this isn't me, this is a memory that I have, and I can see it. And you can watch it play out, maybe like a movie in your mind or something. But it's very important to remember that that memory is your version of that event. You were maybe a child when it happened, so you had the lens of a child, or you had different experiences that culminated to that event. Now you're essentially a different person. You're an adult, you're older, you've gone through so much more experience. It gives it a different lens or a different perspective. For example, we've both had people in our family that have struggled with addiction. And when you're a kid, you don't understand that. You don't know what's going on. You just see it, and maybe it's hurtful towards you, or it's a very negative experience. However, when you get older and you can look at that and say, okay, I understand addiction now. I'm older. I can see this person now, how they've changed or been struggling with their whole life, but they have been working on it, or maybe they haven't, but you can understand, okay, it's because of this that they struggle with that addiction. You can see it with a new lens and say, okay, I can see you for what you are, but I'm not going to allow you to have power over me anymore. I can understand this situation. I can see it for what it is, and I'm choosing to let it go. And that's when you can come in with different affirmations and say, I am God. I don't need to be limited by this.
Exactly.
This is something that happened, 20 years ago. I don't need this to keep coming up in my life. It has no power. I'm choosing to let it go. And it might take a few instances for it to come up, and then you let it go, and come up and let it go. But each time, trust us that it gets easier and easier. Every time. It has less power over us. And the other thing that I think it's very important to note is that with the past, it is memories. And I don't know about you, but there's been times where someone's telling me an event, and I either say, I don't remember it like that, or I don't remember that at all. Again, it's your version of what happened. I mean, even things have happened with us that Gabriel remembers it this way, I remember it that way. But we were both there at the same time, and it wasn't that long ago. It's just different.
Yeah.
You perceive things, you notice things differently. The memories form in your mind differently. And so if they're that malleable, surely you can change them now, either letting them go and revising them, or just letting them go and affirming that you are the power one. They no longer have power over you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so powerful because when you become aware of it, it loses its power. Because you are the awareness, and that is the awareness, is infinite and it's limitless. That's why it loses its power. And if you think about it, wow, it's so simple. Why have I always been running away from my past, or suppressing it? If it's so simple, it is really that simple, but so powerful. And then, as my beautiful wifey mentioned, that you could decide to let it go, or you could use revision, and then you just revise it to your ideal. So whatever that undesirable past was, you said, no, this is what happened. But it's very important, before you revise it, you first have to be aware of it, see for what it is, and let it go. So because when you do that, you are telling your past that you do not have power over me. I am the operant power. I am the awareness, which is infinite and limitless, and you do not have power over me. Whatever I say goes. And throughout this process, you obviously have compassion for yourself. You're patient with yourself, and you create that space, for healing, for yourself, without, being too hard on yourself, judging yourself. You have to understand this human vessel requires, that safety, that love, and that compassion. Compassion is very, 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 very important, And once you have all these things, in place, it makes things so much, easier. And when that past comes up again, it won't have power over you. You'll just see it for what it is. You'll see it like you'd watch a car driving past. You're like, oh, okay. See, they don't have any power over you. You know what I mean? Because now you know who you are. So that's why it's so important to, especially if you know that it is affecting you, to address it for what it is, heal it, and then let it go.
Yeah, because once you do that, especially if you do use revision, or if you just say, no, that never happened, I'm God, it's perfect, then that's when you get to see the results of that now manifesting in your life. You get to change, if you want to say, change the timeline, or you change the cycles that perpetuate themselves in your life, because you're no longer either trying to fight and suppress against this memory, and that's where your energy is going, or you're held back because you just say, okay, that happened, okay, I guess that's my life. No, you are the offering power. You can change it however you want. And once you change it, then you can see, your family members that maybe had addictions. If you revise that they didn't, you can see them change from that. You can see your relationship with money change if you change that, or your relationships. Every part of your life can change if you address the past and let it go.
So having said that, keep smiling. Enjoy your blissful day. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. And do let us know in the comment below your thoughts. We love interacting with you guys. And as always, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.